Mizzle, right back at you guys again today. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use a pressure washer. The pressure washer that I currently have is a 4,000 psi unit. This is the pressure washer that I'm going to be using today. You know, what I did, I had to work my way up to buying this particular unit. I first started off with a unit from Lowe's. What I want to let you guys know, if you can't start off buying one of these that you see here, start off with something from Lowe's like I did, or Home Depot. Only difference is the ones at Home Depot and Lowe's, you cannot put no bleach or anything like that in the reservoir because it will mess up the pistons in the engine. You can only use solutions that comes with it. So this is the unit that I have here. It has a Honda motor and it's actually a North Star. So I'm going to show you guys how to hook it up and show you guys how to start pressure washing your home. You want to hook up the water hose first. You never want to run your pressure washer with the water turned off, because if you do, you're going to mess up the engine. So make sure that the water is running before you turn your pressure washer on. So that is my hose that I'm going to use to connect to the gun of the pressure washer, and this is actually the gun that I'm going to connect the hose to. You see these prongs that's on it? I actually bought these offline, and the one that you see here that I have here, this is actually the one that's for soap. And believe it or not, you guys, even though it's not longer than my thumb, it actually goes up about 35 to 40 feet in the air. And this one here is the one that I use to rinse, and it goes the exact same distance, 35 to 40 feet in the air to rinse. These two are just light nozzles if I want to wash my car or something like that, you know, something without a whole lot of pressure. Now, to put this on, all you have to do is just pull this downward, push this in, and push this back up, and that'll lock this in place, and so on and so forth. Now, you see here where you have the water hose nozzle and you have the connector for your pressure washer hose. And of course, everybody know how to connect a water hose. So you want to connect the water hose to it. So once the water hose is connected to it, then next you want to connect your hose for your pressure washer gun, and it goes here. That's where that goes. And before I put it on, I'm going to pull this back down. This fluctuates, it goes up and down, you see that? So I'm going to pull it down and put it on the water hose spout and push it back up for it to lock. I'm going to put it here. See how I got this pulled back? And then once I got it on there, I'm just going to push this forward. Now that is locked. Now you have your water hose locked to your machine, as you guys can see. And you have your water hose connected as well. So once we have both of those connected, first, this particular cord you see here, this is my reservoir cord. I put it into my solution. You can use bleach. That's what you need to use, bleach, and whatever other component that you want to mix with your bleach. Now, if you're dealing with stucco, brick, or wood, when you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, you just ask them for that particular solution that covers those three things, and they will show you those solutions for you to be able to use, and you can mix that with your bleach, or you can just use it by itself. Now, when I get ready to crank up this unit, I crank it up back here. As you guys can see, I have the bottom one See this? The bottom one, which is the gas. So I want to push this forward. See, I want to push that forward to let the gas on. The one above it here, this nozzle here, this is my choke. So I'm going to pull my choke back towards me. And this here, this piece here, it goes back and forth. This right here just give me more power. With it to my right towards the machine, the power is very light. And once I pull it back this way towards me, then the power will be the exact power that I would need to pressure wash the home. The gun. In order to attach the hose to this, you want to pull this downward, and then you connect the hose to it and push that back up, and that'll let you know that it's locked in place. So here we go, you guys. This is the end of the hose that goes to it. Now what I'm going to do, push that downward, put this in, and push that back. That'll let me know that I have it locked. This right here, what you see here, I actually had this added to this gun for the connector to be here. So you can ask for this particular thing here for it to have a connector here. Now the next thing is I'm going to crank it up. But remember, when I crank it up, the water has to be turned on. So I'm going to turn the water on. Turn the water on. Water's on. So now I'm about to crank it up. You gotta turn the button on. Gotta turn this button on. Turn it on. All I have to do is just pull the string for it to crank up. Me having it on the soap nozzle, I want to make sure that the soap is coming out first. Do you see the soap? That let me know that the soap is coming out. So I'm going to soap the house from the bottom up, and then when I get ready to rinse the home, I'm going to start from the top down. And that way, when you do it in that sequence, you will not have no streaks in your vinyl. Make sure you don't use bleach near flowers or any type of plants, because they will eventually die. Now, I'm finna start pressure washing from the bottom up. So I'm gonna wet the bottom of the home first and work my way up to the top. And once I do this, you guys, I let it sit for about 15 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes. But if the sun was out very hot, if it was a very hot day, what I would do, I'd go ahead and soak the entire home first. I'll soak the entire home first. And I'll let it sit for 10 minutes if it's real hot outside. And the reason being, you don't want to streak or stain the vinyl. If the vinyl is white, it doesn't matter how long you have it on while the sun is out, because you cannot fade the white. But if it's this color that you see here, or gray, or dark brown, you don't want to leave it on there too long, because if you do, it will eventually fade the vinyl. So I advise you guys to make sure that if it's a hot day and you put your solution on, like I'm doing now, you want it to stay on there for 10 minutes. And then you want to go back around the home and you want to rinse it off. from the beginning where you started and go all the way back around the home. But if you rinse it off after 10 minutes and you see that you still see some stains or some algae buildup, there's nothing wrong with you going ahead and just soap that area again. And do the same thing. Rinse from top to bottom. So as you can see, I just soaked this whole entire side. I'm gonna let this sit for 10 to 15 minutes and then I'm gonna rinse it off. It's just that simple, you guys. Make sure that the water is on when you turn on your unit. Make sure that you turn the gas on. Make sure that you have the primer on and the on button, and then you just pull the string to turn it on. Once it's on, you want to run the water to make sure that the water is coming through. You want to put it on soap to make sure that the soap is coming through, or your bleach or whatever type of liquid that you're using. Once you see it's coming through, then you can begin your pressure washing. If you have any more questions about how to pressure wash, leave me a comment in my comment section. Two things I left out, you guys, while showing you guys how to connect the water hoses and the hose to the gun for the pressure washer and how to crank it up. The things that I left out was, how much water do you put in the bucket with your solution? I'm glad you asked. Okay, regardless of what size bucket you have, it doesn't matter, 5 gallon, 6 gallon, 7 gallon, whatever bucket that you have, you want to put the water in first. And reason being, if you put your solution in first or your chemicals, it's going to make too much suds, and that way you don't know how much water you have in there. So I advise you to put water in the bucket first, up until maybe about that much from being full. I say 6 to 8 inches from being full. That way you can pour in your bleach. Pour in about a half a gallon of bleach inside your water, and you can put in whatever else that you want to use with your bleach. Now, when you have your pressure washer on, before turning it off, what you want to do is, after you finish using all your solution out of the bucket and the bucket is empty or your reservoir is empty, what you want to do, you want to put clear water inside your reservoir, clear water inside your bucket, and you want to make sure that you have on your soap nozzle, because you want to go ahead and squeeze the gun to make sure that all the soap is out of your machine, and you'll know that by the water being clear. So once you see that just rinses all the soap and all the bleach off the pistons and everything that's inside of your machine. So once you rinse it out, right, then you want to go ahead and turn off the pressure washer first, then turn off the water. Then you want to grab the gun to your pressure washer and mash it to let the pressure off of everything, because if you don't, it's going to be hard to unscrew the hose from the house, and it's going to also be hard to unscrew the hoses from the machine. So make sure you squeeze the gun first to let off the pressure. And I thank you guys for coming and being with me again. Yes, I know I have on a different hat. It don't really matter what types of hat you have on when you're pressure washing, because you're not going to really get that dirty. You might just have a mist of water on you. That's all. But anyway, I thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to my new subscribers, and to the subscribers that I already have, I thank you guys very, very much for your support. And I thank y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button and watch the videos all the way through. Even if you set the phone down, allow the videos to play all the way through. T Nizzle, over and out.